The Game of the Year awards aren't just about celebrating art. They're the final move in a multi-million-dollar strategy that killed a 25-year-old industry titan and crowned the new king of game marketing. That trophy directly impacts which games get the green light and which studios get funded. It's an industry stamp of approval that influences what we play and what we pay. You've seen it yourself. Every December, the entire gaming world just stops, hijacked by a single event. You've seen its superpower. That Game of the Year stamp resurrects games and puts them right back on bestseller lists. Today, we're breaking down how the Game Awards dismantled E3. This isn't a history lesson, we're talking numbers. I'll show you the cost that turned E3 into a money pit, compare the price tags for airtime at TGA, and prove how a Game of the Year trophy is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And if we haven't met before, I'm Suk, an accountant who can put a price tag on a trophy. Let's go! To understand the takeover, let's take a look at the victim. For decades, the Electronic Entertainment Expo was the center of the gaming universe, but it was built and designed for a physical world, and its business model was bleeding money. For a major publisher just to rent a large booth space in E3's final years, it could cost them $340,000. But that was just a ticket to get in the door. When you add in custom booth construction, staffing, travel, and the cost of producing a 1-hour press conference, the total investment could easily hit $4 million. And historically, during its peak, those same major players were spending between $5 and $10 million for a single 3-day event. Publishers were paying a middleman millions to reach an audience they can now access directly on Twitch and YouTube for a fraction of the cost. The math just didn't math anymore. And in 2019, we hit the tipping point. Sony pulled out of E3 for the first time in 24 years. Their CEO said that with instant internet news, a June trade show was no longer helpful. And when a giant like PlayStation walks, it gives every other publisher the green light to question their own multi-million-dollar E3 bill. Then, in February 2020, came the 1-2 punch. First, Geoff Keighley, the producer and face of E3's own Coliseum show, walked away. He publicly stated he just didn't feel comfortable participating, and that it was no secret that E3 needed to evolve. It was clear the E3 ship was sinking. But Geoff didn't just jump ship, he left to build his own. Then the knockout punch immediately followed, the pandemic. It forced everyone online and proved the physical show floor was unnecessary. While E3 was in freefall, the industry needed a new stage to get in front of media and gamers alike. Enter the Game Awards, which had quietly built a global marketing machine. And the proof is in its audience. And it isn't just about size, it's about strategy. E3's audience was always fractured, 1.5 million viewers at best, scattered across a dozen different streams. It was never one single moment. The Game Awards was built from its inception in 2014 to be that single moment. And its single audience grew exponentially, from 11.5 million in 2017 to 103 million in 2022 to an estimated 154 million in 2024. Compared to E3's last physical attendance of just over 66,000, it's not even in the same league. So how does Keighley monetize this massive audience? The business model is pretty simple. He doesn't sell floor space, he sells airtime. The show's primary revenue comes from selling slots for those world premiere trailers we all watch for. And the price list looks a little something like this. To debut a trailer at the Game Awards, it costs a publisher $250,000 for 1 minute, $350,000 for a minute and a half, $450,000 for 2 minutes, and a 2.5 minute slot will run you $550,000. I know $500,000 sounds like a lot of money, but let's run the numbers so you can see the difference. Remember the $4 million price tag for a full E3 presentation? That would buy you an audience of about 1.5 million people. Your cost per viewer, about $2.67. That $500,000 world premiere trailer at the Game Awards, that gets you in front of 118 million people. The cost per viewer there is less than half a cent. And I know what you're thinking, that I'm using the more recent massive TGA numbers. So let's be generous to E3. Let's go all the way back to 2017, when TGA only had 11.5 million viewers. Even then, the cost to reach a single viewer was just a nickel. It's not even a fair fight. You're reaching an audience exponentially larger for a fraction of the cost. At that point, the math isn't just better, it's an entirely different game. And this model creates the perfect feedback loop. Publishers pay for trailers, which funds the show. The trailers guarantee a massive audience, and that audience is what makes the awards feel so important and prestigious. It's that prestige that transforms winning the Game of the Year from just an honor into a money-making machine. Winning Game of the Year immediately reignites a game's sales. It's a shot of adrenaline long after the launch hype has died down. Let's look at Elden Ring. After its win in December 2022, the number of people playing on Steam basically tripled, a 183% jump from the month before. That surge helped it cross 20.5 million copies sold. It's the same story with The Witcher 3. After its 2015 win, player counts surged over 70%, a key reason CD Projekt Red's revenue exploded to $205 million that year. And we saw it again with Baldur's Gate 3. After its win, a game that had been out for months shot right back into PlayStation's top 10, on its way to selling over 15 million copies. And the sales numbers are just one part of the story. The real prize is how a Game of the Year win can change a company's entire trajectory on the stock market. The Game of the Year for The Witcher 3 was a rocket fuel for CD Projekt Red. It helped take their market cap from about $500 million in 2015 to over $7 billion just 4 years later. For investors, that award is the ultimate proof of concept. It turns a successful studio into a certified AAA powerhouse. And it doesn't end there. Next comes the Game of the Year edition. This is how publishers breathe new life into a game after its win, creating a second launch window a year or more after the original hype has faded. They bundle everything together, including the game and the DLC, to create a new, definitive version. This resets the price and keeps the game from getting stuck on digital discount racks, and maintains its value. It turns a one-time hit into a consistent, long-term moneymaker. But what about the things you can't put a price on? A Game of the Year win buys a studio creative freedom. It acts as a shield, protecting them from short-sighted corporate decisions. Look at Larian Studios. CEO Sven Vinka used his Baldur's Gate 3 win as a platform to champion pro-developer values, turning his studio into a magnet for the industry's best talent. He literally called the win a life-changing event. Or how about From Software? The director of Elden Ring said their success gives them room to fail, which is code for the power to tell a publisher no when they ask them to dumb down their games. So in the end, that's the real power of the award. It's the validation that allows a studio to prioritize making a masterpiece over just making a product. It's the freedom to take creative risks that we as players are all hoping for. It's crystal clear. The collapse of E3 wasn't an accident or a tragedy. It was a model from another era entirely. Its foundation just didn't make financial sense anymore. And the Game Awards was the smarter, leaner business built for the digital age that stepped in to take its place. By building a platform that was a smarter investment and hundreds of times more cost-effective, Geoff Keighley didn't just change the industry standard. He made the old one obsolete. The war is over. The battle for our attention and for publishers' money isn't decided in a convention center in June anymore. It's won on a virtual stage every single December. The Game of the Year award has been fundamentally transformed. It's no longer just the highest praise in gaming. It's a financial powerhouse with the ability to secure a studio's future. In a billion-dollar industry, that trophy is the ultimate seal of approval. But now I want to hear from you. Looking back, which Game of the Year winner do you feel truly earned its success? And looking forward, who's your pick for 2025? Let me know in the comments. If this breakdown helped you better understand the collapse of E3 and the rise of the Game Awards, hitting that like button is the best way to help the video reach more gamers like you. And subscribe if you want more deep dives into the money and business behind the games we play. Thanks for watching, and as always, play more, pay less. See you on the next one.